So now I'm in Montreal doing a dog sit, and I went out dancing because I do remember a few places in Montreal, and I found one that is open, and it wasn't great, but hey, it was dancing, so it was, better than nothing. Parking in downtown Montreal has not changed. I can't even say it's gotten worse, but anyway, I eventually found a spot, 10-minute walk to the disco. So then I get home quite early, actually, from a disco normally. And there's the pupper I'm watching, and she was barking when she heard me drive in, and she was so excited when I was unlocking the door. And so that was great, and we both had a little something to eat, and she went off to bed, and I watched a movie. And that's what I'm doing this little video about, is this movie was about a 23-year-old woman who had no memory. And that's what the movie was about. And so she just thought, I don't want to talk to anybody about it until I can kind of figure out who I am and what my life is. And I know that I have no memory, and I don't know what my name is or anything else. So maybe I just need to create my life anew and see what it is and if I like it. And it reminded me of when I lost my memory. So I think I mentioned in one of the earlier videos I did that when I was 28 years old, I fell off a bicycle, landed on my head. I still have the indentation back here. But where I had no hair there for a while and did not know it, but my little girls did. My 7-year-old daughter was with me when I fell off the bicycle. And both the 7-year-old and 5-year-old would brush my hair for me for a while because I wasn't able to do a whole lot. And their father told them, "Don't tell mommy that she has no hair in that spot on the back of her head." And so then one day I, got up and was moving around myself, and I went to brush my hair, and it felt weird. And that really threw me for a loop. But I lost my memory. There were so many things for quite some time that I did not remember. Although, unlike this girl in the movie, her parents didn't know where she was. She was living at home and went to a music concert, and then they never saw her again until, one day. So with me, I was, living with my husband and 2 children, and he brought one of his sisters in, which was so lovely of her to come in and take care of me all day long and get the kids off to school and all that stuff. But there was this pressure to remember. I remember well. There was all this pressure to remember. And that kind of came up in the movie, near the end of the movie, that when she was reunited with her parents, they were putting all this pressure on her to remember. And she had been very happy until then. And it makes you sad, I guess, when there's all this stuff that you don't know, but people want you to know. They know you used to know, and they want you to know again. Why? Because it includes them. Because they know that what you've forgotten, that they are a part of what you've forgotten, even though they're right there. But at any rate, I did remember. This was a fictitious movie, I believe. I don't think it was based on a true story, which typically is what I like to watch as a movie. But anyway, so isn't it interesting, though, when we lose our memory and others put pressure on us to regain it? Although I felt the pressure that I needed to remember these things, but I don't know if that was internal initially or if it was external initially, and then I embraced it and took it on. And I remember at one point, my ex-husband and I went off to Montreal from where we were living in rural Ontario, where we, had our home and our children and all that stuff. But But we used to spend a lot of time in Montreal when we were teenagers. And so he needed for me to remember that. So I remember we went to Montreal and I just kept saying, nope, I don't. And I remember that there was no pressure for me to remember that. Maybe because it didn't include my children. Maybe. Anyway, so then it did come back. But over the years, and this has been a long time. I was 28. I'm now 65. And for many, many years, somebody would say something, oh my goodness, do you remember when we... Nope. But then as the person kept talking about it, I would say, no, it's okay. Just tell me about it. But I don't remember it, but just tell me about it. It's like, that's what we do with our memories anyway, right? And then I would, over the next couple of days or something, remember it. It would come back in little pictures and, oh yeah, I remember now. So my memory is very good. In fact, there was something, I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, maybe I was at a luncheon. Anyway, something came up about memory and what a good memory I had. And I said, yeah, isn't that cool? Especially given how I lost it once. And now I'm older, and the older you get, apparently the less memory you have. So at any rate, I'm not sure what there is in here as a message to others, except that, well, as we get older, I guess, if people are having an issue with you not being able to remember something, just you can remember, on my words, that's their issue, not yours. Don't put any pressure on yourself. Don't let them put pressure on, well, they're going to put pressure on you because that's what people do, but don't buy the pressure they're putting on you. Don't own it for yourself. And don't put pressure on yourself. So, yeah, so that was just a little memory I had tonight. I had forgotten over all these years. It was a long time that my head injury was very present in my life. I remember in 2001 or 2002, while I was living in Belgium, there was an incident that it turned out to be stress of something that I was feeling was required of me or something like that. And I got such a pain in the back of my head, right where it's indented back there, but such a pain in the back of my head, it dropped me to my knees. I thought, oh my God, I might have to go to the hospital. And what the heck are they going to do? Because I know that a head injury, there's not a lot that can be done. But anyway, that scared the bejickens out of me. And I just didn't go. And it passed. And then I was able to process it. And I realized that it was just stress. And an unbelievable amount of internal stress that I put on myself over something silly. We had unexpected company, and what are we going to feed them? We hadn't done groceries. We would have done groceries that night, but didn't. And anyway, so what can we offer him as something to eat? And it's just like a nothing thing, but it was serious. So there's 2002. So even after that, the head injury, oh my goodness, yes, I went through an issue where I learned about my brain and and so that was 2007, yes, early 2007 in fact, and it carried on for another 2 or 3 years before I figured it out. I figured out how to deal with it on my own. I went through a barrage of tests with specialists and at a university hospital and all that stuff, and they know nothing. They know nothing, seriously. But at any rate, yeah, so my head injury was a very important part of my life for a long time. And yet, look at that, let's say since 2010 or something like that, it hasn't been, and it's to the point where tonight as I'm watching this movie, I wasn't even remembering it in the movie until it came to the point where she was feeling this pressure to go back and live with her parents, and she was in another state from where she was now, and she was feeling the pressure to remember her past, and that's when it just flooded into me. I went through that. So I guess maybe I did kind of forget that. Anyway, yeah. So I guess the big thing is that if ever anyone is pressuring you to remember your own past, why? Why are they? I'll tell you why. It's because they're afraid that you're not going to remember them. They're in front of you. What does it matter if you remember the past with them in it? But at any rate, just do not own the pressure coming from somebody else. Do not embrace it and apply pressure to yourself. All right, so there's my message. And I'm in Montreal now. I think I mentioned that in the beginning because I was out dancing. And on another dog sit. This is with we could call her my great-granddaughter. And there's also a dwarf hamster who is just the cutest little thing. She's so tiny. And yeah, she gets in. I put her into her little ball. It's just a clear plastic ball. And she just moves it all around the house. It's just amazing to see her go. The distance she travels for the size of her. So I figure she gets a lot of exercise when I put her in that ball. I just do it once a day. And yeah, so this is fun. Anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.